Some units don't just complete missions, they change the course of history, one bullet at a time. They are the sharpest edge of modern warfare, operating in the shadows, where no rules apply. But which Special Forces unit is truly the deadliest in the world? Is it the one with the highest confirmed kills, the most successful operations, the greatest strategic impact? The truth is, no one really knows. Because the deadliest units don't leave headlines. They leave no trace. In this video, we're going far beyond the usual top 10 lists. We'll dive into the real factors that make a unit deadly and reveal the names and stories that almost never see the light of day. Some of these units you've heard of, some you haven't. And by the end, you might be surprised by which unit truly deserves the title. Stay with us until the very end, because the deadliest warriors don't always wear the uniforms you expect.
So, why is this such a hard question to answer? Why can't we just name the world's deadliest Special Forces unit and be done with it? Because the things that make a unit deadly are often impossible to measure. There is no public scoreboard, no official body count, no annual rankings. The most lethal missions are classified, and the most successful units operate under a veil of secrecy. Even if we did know all the numbers, it still wouldn't be that simple. Is Deadliest about confirmed kills? Is it about the number of high-profile targets eliminated? Or about the sheer impact a unit has on the battlefield or the world stage? What about the missions we'll never hear about? The ones that prevented wars, toppled regimes, or altered the course of history? And then there's the psychological effect. The fear these units inspire, sometimes without ever firing a shot. So no, there is no easy answer. But that's exactly what makes this question so fascinating. Stick around, because the truth is far more complex and far more interesting than you think. Let's get one thing out of the way. The deadliest Special Forces unit is not the one with the biggest kill count. That's a myth. And in many cases, it's exactly the opposite. Think about it. The most elite operators don't just kick down doors and shoot bad guys. Their job is to accomplish the mission. Sometimes that means eliminating a target, but sometimes it means gathering intelligence. Sometimes it means preventing a conflict altogether. The most successful units often value stealth over body count. A perfect operation leaves no trace and no headlines. A team that kills dozens of enemies may actually have failed its mission, or worse, started a larger conflict. Meanwhile, a unit that extracts a single asset without firing a shot may have changed the course of history. That's why focusing on kill counts misses the point. It's not about how many enemies you eliminate. It's about which enemies you eliminate, and when, and why, and how. And most of all, it's about the impact those actions have on the bigger picture. So if we're going to talk about the deadliest unit, we need to look deeper, much deeper. So, what really makes a Special Forces unit deadly? If it's not just about kill counts, then what is it about? It starts with effectiveness. Does the unit accomplish its mission no matter how difficult, under the harshest conditions imaginable? Then there's versatility. How well can they adapt? To urban combat, to jungle warfare, to desert operations, to situations no one could have predicted. Next, precision. Are they capable of surgical strikes that leave no collateral damage?
Can they neutralize a target in the middle of a crowd without a single innocent harmed? But there's more. Secrecy. A truly deadly unit leaves no trail. Their greatest victories are often the ones no one knows about. Strategic impact. It's not about how many missions they run. It's about which missions they choose and what effect those missions have on the broader conflict. And perhaps most importantly, psychological effect. The fear, the reputation, the knowledge that when this unit is on the field, there is nowhere to hide. Some of the deadliest operators in history only had to be mentioned to make entire enemy forces retreat. That's power. That's effectiveness. And that's why finding the world's deadliest special forces unit is about much more than just counting bodies. Because when all of these factors come together, you get something far more dangerous than anyone can measure. So with all of that in mind, one question remains. If you ask operators, military historians, intelligence analysts, one name tends to come up. Again and again. Not because they're the flashiest, not because they release videos of their missions, but because they have earned a reputation through decades of operations in some of the world's most dangerous environments. They were doing special operations before the term even existed. They trained many of the units that exist today, and even now in an age of drones and cyber warfare, their boots are still on the ground. They are often the first in and the last out. They disappear into enemy territory and return with results. And when you study modern special forces history, one truth becomes clear. If you're talking about the world's deadliest units, you have to start with the SAS. The Special Air Service, or simply the SAS. Founded in 1941 during the darkest days of World War II. Their original mission? To strike where the enemy thought they were safe, deep behind enemy lines, sabotaging airfields, destroying supply lines, spreading chaos. Led by visionary officer David Stirling, this tiny unit of misfits and rogues reshaped how the British military thought about warfare. They operated in the deserts of North Africa, riding in jeeps loaded with machine guns, attacking enemy targets hundreds of miles from the front lines. It was dangerous, it was unconventional, and it worked. After the war, the SAS became something else entirely. A unit built for the Cold War era, trained in counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, covert reconnaissance, and yes, direct action. One mission made them famous worldwide, the 1980 Iranian embassy siege in London. Terrorists had taken hostages in the heart of the British capital. The SAS stormed the building. The operation was fast, precise, lethal. The world watched in awe as black-clad operators ended the siege in under 17 minutes. But that was just one moment in a history filled with shadows. Since then, the SAS has operated in nearly every major conflict, from the Falklands to Iraq to Afghanistan, and many places the public will never know about. Their motto says it all: who dares wins. And for decades, they have dared, and they have won. But if you think the SAS is alone, you'd be wrong. Another name looms large on any list of deadly special forces. SEAL Team 6, or as they're officially known, DEVGRU. They are America's most secretive and most feared special operations unit. Created in the aftermath of failure. In 1980, a US mission to rescue hostages in Iran ended in disaster. The message was clear. America needed a unit that could do the impossible. Enter SEAL Team 6, an elite group drawn from the very best of the US Navy SEALs.
From the beginning, their focus was sharp: counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, high-value target elimination. And over the years, their capabilities expanded far beyond those original missions. Today, they are a precision instrument of American power, equipped with the best technology, trained in everything from halo jumps to underwater infiltration to close quarters combat. Their operations are often so sensitive, even members of Congress are kept in the dark. One mission put them on the front page of the world's newspapers: the raid on Osama bin Laden's compound. In May 2011, SEAL Team 6 flew deep into Pakistani territory. In under 40 minutes, they ended the world's most infamous manhunt. But that was just one operation. Their true work remains in the shadows. From Somalia to Syria to places we'll never know about, SEAL Team 6 continues to operate on the razor's edge of modern warfare. They are fast, they are precise, and when they strike, there is no second chance. But even they are not the only ones worthy of this list. Some of the deadliest units in the world don't make headlines at all. By now, you might think we've covered the big names. But here's the thing. Some of the world's most deadly special forces aren't in the spotlight. They operate in the gray zones, far from the cameras, far from public knowledge. Take Israel's Sayeret Matkal. Their operators specialize in intelligence gathering, deep reconnaissance, and surgical strikes. Many of their missions remain classified to this day, but the ones we do know about are legendary. Or consider Spetsnaz GRU, Russia's military intelligence special forces, masters of unconventional warfare, sabotage, assassination. Their reach extends across the globe, often leaving confusion and chaos in their wake. Then there's France's GIGN, famous for counter-terrorism but capable of so much more. Their operators are trained to end crises before the world even knows they began. And these are just a few examples. Around the world, small teams of highly trained operators are carrying out missions that will never make the news. And sometimes, that's exactly the point. So, why might we never know the full truth? Because in the world of special operations, the best stories are the ones that can't be told. Classified missions, sealed files, operators whose identities don't even officially exist. Governments protect these secrets because the stakes are simply too high. A single leak could jeopardize ongoing missions or expose the tactics that give these units their edge. And beyond that, many of the most significant operations are designed to prevent something from happening. How do you measure the success of a mission when its goal was to stop a war that never started, or to prevent an assassination that never occurred? That's the paradox of true effectiveness in this world. The better a unit performs, the less the public will ever know about it. And in some cases, the operators themselves take those stories to the grave. So when we ask which unit is the deadliest, we must remember, the truth might always remain just out of reach. So what does it really mean to be deadly? Is it about numbers? Is it about body count? Is it about fame or fear? The truth is, deadliness is more than any single metric. It's about impact. A unit that changes the course of a war or prevents one from happening. It's about precision, not just hitting targets, but hitting the right targets at exactly the right time. It's about adaptability, the ability to operate anywhere, under any conditions, against any enemy. It's about psychological effect, the knowledge that somewhere out there, a team exists that can find you anywhere. And sometimes that knowledge alone can change an enemy's behavior without a shot being fired. It's about loyalty, discipline, the ability to execute the impossible without hesitation. And above all, it's about silence. Because the deadliest units don't need recognition. They don't need medals. Their greatest victories are the ones no one will ever hear about.
So, who is the deadliest special forces unit in the world? The truth is, there is no single answer, because the deadliest unit depends on the mission, on the time, on the place, on the enemy. The SAS has a legacy that shaped the very concept of special operations. SEAL Team 6 operates with unmatched global reach and resources. Units like Sayeret Matkal and Spetsnaz GRU bring terrifying precision and psychological impact. And then there are the forces you'll never read about, the ones whose names are buried in classified reports. In the end, the deadliest unit is the one that accomplishes its mission when it matters most. The one that can shape history without ever making the news. And the one that leaves its enemies wondering if they'll ever see it coming. Because in this world, the shadows are where true power lives. So, after everything we've explored today, who do you think is the deadliest special forces unit in the world? Is it the one with the longest legacy, the one with the most modern tools, or the one whose very name spreads fear in the minds of its enemies? Or perhaps it's a unit none of us will ever truly know about. That's the beauty and the mystery of this world. In the shadows, across every continent, there are operators training, preparing, waiting for a mission we may never hear about. But make no mistake, they are out there. Now it's your turn. Tell us in the comments which unit you believe deserves the title and why. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more coming. Because in this world, what you think you know is only the beginning.